Gerstlauer has been in business since 1981, and now they offer one of the most varied coaster collections of any manufacturer. Today, we're going to highlight this company and stick to the facts as we look at the tallest coaster in each of Gerstlauer's models. For sake of simplicity, we're going to run through these in alphabetical order by the model's name. The names are pulled from the roller coaster database. Airtime coaster, Mecalodon, Wallaby, Belgium, top height 49.2 feet. Now, admittedly, we're kind of starting off the list in a bit of an odd way because this is the only coaster of this type in Gerstlauer's catalog at the moment. This is a prototype coaster that just recently opened in April of 2025, but with the reviews that this ride has been seeing, I would not be surprised if we saw more of this type of family coaster in the future. This ride has a really nice setting, and Gerstlauer did a good job mixing in some positive forces, some quick movements, and some airtime, as the model name would suggest. But also, it's not a very intense ride at all, really great for a lot of different tastes. And with just a 39-inch height requirement, a lot of kids are going to be able to experience this one. So this is a model that certainly has a lot of potential, and I think we're going to see a lot more of these coasters pop up in the coming years. Bob Coaster, Mercant, Mandoria, 23.8 feet. I promise guys, these rides actually do get pretty big throughout this video, just not yet. This Polish roller coaster is a bit on the odd side. First off, Mercant translates to merchant. The theme behind this ride is that you're in a car and you're seeing how effectively merchant goods can travel from places like the exchange office to the warehouse. And while there are sections of decent theming, there are also sections that really look like there shouldn't be a roller coaster there. Maybe this is the warehouse idea. Is it cheating to theme a ride to a warehouse and then put it in a warehouse? I don't know. The visuals through the layout are definitely inconsistent and it makes me ask some questions. But again, maybe it's going back to that warehouse theme. We'll give them the benefit of the doubt here. And hey, maybe a couple coasters we're going to talk about later at Nickelodeon Universe were also playing off this theme? Sorry, just saying. Bobsled coaster, Gesente Sau, Wiener Prater, 78.7 feet. Hey, now we're finally getting to rides that are actually a pretty respectable size. No disrespect to those previous rides, but these bobsled coasters actually look pretty dang solid from Gerstlauer. It's basically their version of a Wild Mouse coaster, except there's a lot more airtime and helixes put into the layout. Now this is more traditional feeling in the sense that it's contained to a square plot of land. A lot of other bobsled coasters have a bit more terrain usage and really go off the map from the traditional Wild Mouse setup. This ride's name comes from German tradition, and if you were to translate it literally, it means scorched pig. Eurofighter coaster, TMNT Shellraiser, Nickelodeon Universe, and Takabisha, Fuji-Q Highland, 141 feet. These coasters are nearly identical. I say nearly identical because the drop is half a degree different between the two coasters. Of course, TMNT Shellraiser is famous for being the steepest coaster in the world. It beat out its sister coaster by that whopping half degree, placing its drop at 121.5 degrees. That is, of course, at the end of the day, what these coasters are known for, that incredibly steep first drop. Now, despite the fact that TMNT is newer, a lot of people think that Takabisha is the better of the two coasters, as Shellraiser seems to have potholes throughout the layout. Hard to believe this ride is still 15 years old, and even after all that time, it still stands as one of Japan's most notable roller coasters. Family coaster, Fire Chaser Express, Dollywood, 78 feet. This is kind of the predecessor to the family coaster we talked about at the start of this video in a lot of ways. This coaster, along with all the other coasters in their family coaster model, Gerstlauer has really been on the cutting edge of family coasters for a long time. And Fire Chaser Express is one of the best examples of what they can do. It has forwards and backwards elements, launches, and theming elements. And like Mecalodon, its forces are such that it's entertaining for the thrill seekers and not too much for the little ones. Family suspended coaster, Lipovitan Rocket Luna, Yomiuriland, 50 feet. This is another coaster that essentially wins by default, as right now it is the only coaster in Gerstlauer's catalog to fit in this ride model. It opened in 2021, so it's certainly not impossible that we'd see another coaster of this type from Gerstlauer, but this one is on the odd side. It's partly enclosed and only reaches a top speed of 24 miles an hour. At the end of the day, it is definitely a family coaster. Infinity Coaster, Schwarzkarnen, Hansa Park, 239 feet. Now we're getting to one of the most legit rides on this list. The ride starts with a massive indoor elevator lift hill. This leads to the vertical drop from hypercoaster heights, and then it goes into a couple of huge elements in the beginning before using a lot of speed in the second half of the ride. And you'll feel the pace on it too. It reaches a top speed of 79 miles an hour. And there's no doubt that this is an incredibly imposing ride when you're looking up at it. Now, some people have said that this coaster runs a bit on the shaky side, but no matter what you think in terms of the smoothness of this coaster, no one can deny its pure scale and impressive nature. And that's not even to mention the surprises that this coaster has throughout the layout, which I'm not going to mention here. If you give Gerstlauer the space and the budget, they can do some pretty crazy stuff. Infinity Inverted Coaster, Storm the Dragon Legend, Tusenfryd, 109 feet. This ride opened in 2023 and serves as the prototype coaster for this ride model. It's gotten overall solid reviews, but once again, there are some concerns over this coaster's smoothness. Unfortunately, Gerstlauer has a history of sometimes having shaky roller coasters. This ride though has some pretty impressive forces, a speed of 59 miles an hour and 3 inversions, including a reverse sidewinder. It's an interesting ride model, but to be honest, I don't think we're going to see a ton of these in the future. Junior Coaster, Coastersaurus at Legoland California, and Dragon Hunt at Legoland Deutschland, a whopping 18.1 feet. With the amount of kids that come into Legoland parks, you need a solid kids coaster, and these look to provide that. Obviously, the height, layout, and general statistics impress nobody, but at the end of the day, every park needs a good kids coaster, and so these coasters represent that field. Kiddie Coaster, all of them, 5.8 feet. These rides don't even look real, to be completely honest with you. They're so small to the point that each vehicle only holds one child. Which, I guess for the 11 installations that there are out there, it's probably a fun experience for the really little kids. But in a sort of irony, talking about the tallest coaster in each ride model, we have to address one of the smallest coaster models that's out there in the world. Y'all, I'm 6 inches taller than these roller coasters. That's how small we're talking. Launch Coaster, Anubis the Ride, Plopsaland, Belgium, 111.5 feet. This ride is pretty similar to a lot of their Eurofighter coasters, except for the fact that it has a punchy launch at the beginning. In fact, the rest of the layout is a near clone to Daredevil Dive at Six Flags Over Georgia. The launch and top hat is definitely the highlight of this ride, but it also throws in 3 inversions, those including a dive loop, an implement, and a heartline roll. It also looks to have a pretty solid setting, surrounded by a lot of different trees. So even though this coaster falls short of 2,000 feet of track and under 60 miles an hour, that launch definitely makes the experience worth it. Shuttle Family Coaster, Rewind Racers at Adventure City, and Boomerang at Luna Park Sydney, 39.3 feet. Save the fact that these rides have mirrored layouts, these coasters are identical. They're not particularly complicated. You go up backwards, go up through the station, have a helix, go up another spike, and then do it all again backwards. They're also really short in terms of track length. These coasters come in at under 600 feet of track. Now, you do it all forwards and backwards, so it kind of doubles it, but still not a particularly long coaster, but a fun ride for families. The last one on the list comes to us from Nickelodeon Universe, Spinning Coaster, Shredder, 85 feet. This is kind of an interesting ride actually when you look at the reviews for it. I haven't ridden it personally, but there's quite a few people that say that this is actually inferior to a lot of Gerstlauer's smaller spinning coasters because of the fact that it has a tendency not to spin as much. I'm not exactly sure why this is the case, but obviously if it is the case when you happen to ride it, it kind of takes away from the whole idea of a spinning coaster. With that being said though, this coaster has really nice interactions with TMNT Shell Racer. They were built in tandem with one another, and sometimes it's hard to tell what track you're looking at in terms of if it's track for Shredder or if it's track for Shell Racer. They really are intertwined, and that interaction does make it an interesting coaster. Alright folks, well there you have it, the tallest coaster in each model of Gerstlauer's catalog. What's your favorite coaster from Gerstlauer, and what do you think of the company? Let me know down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.